Hi, let's get started. We're going to take just a couple of minutes and get ourselves introduced to sketching inside an Onshape part document. So we could create a new one just by clicking on Create and Document, but I'm going to go into one that's already blank, that's already been created by left clicking on it. Okay, we've talked a little bit about what these buttons are, but let's start to use some of them. Most geometry is created from 2D sketches. So since we're creating 2D geometry inside a 3D world, we kind of need a space, a subset to work on top of. So the first thing we need to do is select a plane to work on. So there's 3 to pick from. I'm just going to choose the front arbitrarily and click on the Sketch button. Okay, now this little window pops up that we can move around, and that shows us that we are inside a sketch. Now I could try to rotate with the right mouse button and get us just to the right place, or I could right click and say View Normal to Sketch Plane, and that'll get us lined up just where I want to be. So what I'm going to do, we're going to create a square here, but I want to show you how you create constraints. And constraints are really important for creating smart geometry. So let's do this together. So I'm going to go up here to the line tool and click once on it, left click on it, and then I'm going to go click once, click once, click once, click once, and I'll finish right there on top of that place where I started. I notice how this kind of went grayer, kind of more shaded. I'll click on this to get out of the tool, and that means that this is a simple closed region. So I want this to be a square, and I could try to get it into the right spot just so, but I'm not going to get it just perfect. So instead, I'm going to do a few other things. I'm going to first lock it in space by putting this corner right on the origin. Okay. And then I'm going to start adding rules. Now it's best to start usually with geometric constraints. So let me show you how that works. I'm going to left click on an entity, in this case a line, and I'm going to go over to this drop down. If your window is wider, you might have all the buttons here. I know that I want this to be vertical, so I'm going to add the rule here, make it vertical. And I know I want this one to be horizontal, so I'm going to add the horizontal rule. And I know I want that one. I want you to notice this too. See how these turn black and these are blue? Blue means it's underdefined. It means that there's freedom within the sketch to move, and it's not sure it's going to stay there. Black means that it's fully defined. So the endpoint is blue because it's not sure how long to be, but it knows it's going to be along this this plane. So it's completely black right there. The same with the vertical line. So let's change this to vertical. Not change it, but we're going to add that rule. Click on this line and make it horizontal. Okay, how come they didn't turn black? Well, now they're staying horizontal and vertical, but we actually need to add some rules to make this the right size. So we're going to add a dimension or a dimensional constraint. So if I click on that, and there's a few different ways we can do it. I'm going to do it the simplest way though. I'm just going to left click once on the line and then left click once out in white space. And I'll press enter just to leave it as it is for now. Okay, now notice that this one turned black. Previously it was blue. Now we have one thing left. I'm going to hit escape to get out of that tool, and you can see how I can move this around, but I can't move that around. If I grab this point like I tried to before, I only have 1 degree of freedom left. So I'm limiting my degrees of freedom little by little. So I'm going to click on this dimension tool again, left click on it, and this time I'll show you we can do it by clicking. We can either dimension the length of this line, or we can do it this way, by dimensioning the distance between that line and then left clicking on that line too and dropping it somewhere. I'm pressing enter. Now if I hit escape to get out of that tool, I can change these, see, and make it 6, for example. And I can now drive the sketch, I'll make that one 4, to be just the right size I need. So that is sketching in Onshape. A real simple sketch with some geometric constraints and some dimensional constraints. Thanks for watching.